Don't forget to check out the Social Oddities on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. T-shirts are now available to all our podcast fans. They're available in a variety of different colours and also in different sizes. Keep in contact, follow, like, and share. Let all your friends know to listen to the Social Oddities Podcast.
It's the Social Oddities Podcast, coming at you from 5 parts of the UK, all for one reason: the amazing world of wrestling.
I've never seen a crowd so fired up, JR. They know what's coming next. They can't wait to get started, and neither can I.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Social Oddities Podcast. I'm Steve, and we're joined here today by Social Oddities host Adam.
Hello.
And our guest today, which is none other than Session Moth Martina.
Ew, what's the story?
Thanks very much for coming on to us today, Session Moth. We have been long-time fans of yours, and I know Adam in particular has been fangirling out all day just like coming on.
I have no idea what you are on about. I am playing this nice and cool.
Well,
that's what I like to hear. I like to hear that you're going mad for it.
Definitely. We'll kick things off how we usually do the podcast, which is generally asking about your background. If you maybe want to fill in some listeners, letting us know how you started getting into the business and generally, what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't. Well, I don't know if they do know, but I've been actually wrestling for about 7 years.
Okay.
But about 5 of the years, I was just wrestling as myself. I was doing Kaza. And it was pretty good. Like, I got very big in Ireland, just kind of being myself. And I got a few abroad bookings as well. But I always, only looking back now, I'm kind of like, yeah, well, it was good. But it was just very basic. And there was nothing to make me stand out. You could be good in the ring and everything like that. But there's so many girls out there that are great in the ring as well. So, it would be an honor to be on their level as it is. But, as it went along, I remember Over the Top Wrestling started doing their over 18 shows. And I actually wrestled the very first one as Kaza. But there was something about it. It was such a wild environment. And it was very different to how it is now. But it was very wild and kind of left it kind of knowing, this isn't enough. If I had just wrestled as Kaza on OTT, I don't think I'd be where I'm at now. And
do you think you found your niche in wrestling?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Once I left, I didn't do the next OTT. I remember I came back and I was like, right, I need something different. I need to do something different just to kind of fit in with this over 18s thing. So in Ireland, there's a really popular term called Session Moths. It's in Ireland, that's a huge thing. It would be every girl that goes out on the weekends, a big group of girls that just go to the club wearing nothing, and they make an absolute show of themselves because they're down in vodka before they go into the club, and they're the ones that get kicked out first, and they're starting fights outside the club, and then they're hungover the next day, all huddled around in their pajamas eating rolls and want more cans, and they're just dying, but they're ready to go again on the next session. And they're quite rough girls. They're from certain parts in Dublin that would be kind of rough, and but the term just started getting thrown around a lot, oh, you're a session moth. No, you're a session moth. So then, obviously, with the over 18s thing, there was these two guys that were kind of playing junkie characters, and they were so funny and they were so popular. So I was like, right, I'll go with them. And I was like, oh, why don't you just kind of be a junkie as well? But I was like, no, you know what? I'll play on the session moth idea. So instead of being on drugs or whatever, I was like, I'll just be a town girl. I'll just be a real Dublin town girl that just drinks and wears her pajamas and she's hungover. And I'll call myself a session moth. And people in Ireland, just straight away, as soon as I did it, they absolutely loved it. And then because I was with these guys, I got to do comedy wrestling and just kind of have a laugh at myself more than I think at the start of OTT, I barely even wrestled. I didn't wrestle on my debut as Martina. I just played the boys, and I did a little spot, and the place went crazy. And so eventually, it leaded up to me. And then I did 6 mans with them, and it was all full of comedy. It was no real hard-hitting wrestling. But people loved it. And before you know it, I became the most popular character in OTT. And that's just something that just hasn't changed, which I'm very lucky about. People just kind of, because I do like to keep reinventing it and do different things for it. But I just, and everywhere I go, I try to find something new to do. So yeah, definitely Martina was a niche.
Fantastic. Well, I was looking at your social media a couple of days ago, and I noticed that there was yourself in a mask looking at some lucha style wrestling. Have we got something to look forward to coming up with that?
That wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Allegedly. Got you.
No, so like I got booked for Lucha Forever, the new company around the UK.
Yeah.
And just straight away when I got the booking, I was like, oh, I can have so much fun with this. So I was like, instead of, like, it's a Lucha Forever, I'm going in against 4 girls. No one's a Lucha in it. Screw it, I'm going to be a Lucha. I'll call myself a motto, and, like, I'll get a really bad mask, it has to be leopard print, and a really bad cape. And just, like, everyone knows it's me, but it'll be like, oh, it's El Motto. And I'll do really, really, really bad Lucha, because I can't do Lucha. A Session Moth cannot do Lucha. So the whole joke
sounds absolutely awesome, by the way.
It's so much fun, but the whole play of it is like, just like, it's, again, you've probably seen it loads of times, just like wrestlers doing bad lucha, but like, again, you don't see a girl doing that kind of thing much. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna have fun with this, and I really, really, really enjoy doing it. It's just really fun, even though I can't, it's hard to think of, like, well, what lucha can I do badly, but when I do think of it, I have a lot of fun with it.
And have they got any shows coming up at the moment that we should be maybe looking out for?
Yeah. Well, they actually run all the time. They run, like, surprisingly quite a lot, like a few times a month, but just in different places. I think my first one was in Southampton, and then I was in Cardiff last week with them, and I will be back with them in July, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to say where. But yeah, it's definitely a place I want to stay, because I really do like, once you're kind of on the scene, the UK scene, especially with, like, the top lads, you find yourself on the same shows with the top lads a lot, and they become your friends. And so I really like kind of traveling around with these guys. It's always the same people, and they become really good friends from it. So, and Lucha Forever just kind of has the top roster in the UK going with them all the time. It's really, really well done. Like, I'm a big fan and very happy to be a part of it.
Excellent, good stuff. Well, we're talking about OTT. How did you actually get into professional wrestling? What was it that was the hook for you? Was it growing up watching it? Was it anything else in particular that springs to mind?
Yeah, me and my brothers, like, would watch it. I remember every Saturday morning when we were kids, we used to always watch it. We used to wrestle each other when it was really popular and everybody liked it. But, like, as everybody else, I don't know if it happened in the UK, but everyone in Ireland, like, during the Attitude Era, it was huge. But everyone just fell out of it, once it kind of got boring, everyone just got sick of it. And I never really got sick of it. I just didn't watch it as much. But, like, I fell out of it. But then I remember, like, years and years and years ago, I was just out with my friends drinking, and we just, you just talk about, oh, do you remember this? Oh, do you remember that? And, like, we just started talking about old school wrestling. And I remember just after that, I went home and I was really hungover, and I was like, we were talking about that last night. I'm going to watch that. And I just stick it on YouTube. And I watched one thing, and I watched another, and I watched another. And I just found myself getting, like, completely obsessed with it again. And then I actually remember, like, I got really, really into Chris Jericho. And he was the one that really pulled me back in. I was like, oh, he's an absolute babe. I'm going to keep watching this. And, he's still in it. I'm going to check what it's like these days. And just so I just kind of... completely
timeless, isn't he?
Yeah, what?
He's completely timeless, Jericho. The many faces of Jericho.
He's my favorite, like. And then it just, like, so then I just got obsessed with that. And then I was just a fan for so many years. But again, I had no idea that there was any such thing as Irish wrestling. I mean, I knew about Sheamus and stuff like that, but I hadn't even heard about anything else. And then I was in line to meet Chris Jericho, ironically. And a guy skipped in front of me in the queue, and I just got talking to him. And he was like, oh, I just came from a show. And I was like, what do you mean a show? And he's like, oh, an Irish wrestling show. Like, what? What are you talking about? What's this? So he told me about it, and then I looked it up, and I ended up living near a guy that actually ran a school. And again, I remember saying it to him when I was drunk one night, just being like, I'd love to do it, but I don't think I have the stones. I could never do it. And me thinking nothing of it. Next day, he sends me a text being like, you're coming down to the school this day. You're going to give it a go. I was like, all right, sure, I'll try it. Like, not thinking anything of it. And so then I just did it, and I loved it. I was probably awful, but I loved it. So I just kept kind of going to the Irish shows, and I just kept going training. I didn't think anything would come of it. I was like, oh, I'll just do it. It's a good hobby. It's about time I got a hobby and did something with myself. And I met a lot of friends there, obviously. And before you know it, I had my debut. And then before you know that, I was wrestling every week. And I was one of the top people being run around just Ireland now at this point. And then I got like an international debut and another one. And like it was going pretty well. But then I actually remember before OTT started, Irish wrestling in general had kind of dipped. Like there wasn't really that many shows going on. And I kind of was getting real down in the dumps about it. And that's why I think like Joe Cabray kind of took it among himself. He came back from NXT and he kind of looked at the Irish scene and he was like, there's so much out there. There's so much great wrestling going on around the world. There needs to be a place in Ireland for it to be showcased. So he really just dug deep and brought out OTT. And now OTT has become one of the top indies in Europe, like, or in like the world at this point.
100%. I think one of the interesting things, which I'm sure a lot of the listeners will know with yourself, you're in a very unique position where you've been part of OTT in Ireland, you've been part of Progress, been part of ICW.
Yeah.
Three premier organisations who are primed and ready to be at the top of the scene.
I remember last year before I had debuted for Progress or ICW, I was kind of talking to my friends from the UK and I was like, so what are the biggest places? And they were like, oh, without a doubt, the top three are ICW, Progress, and OTT. The Fight Club's in there as well. And there's like a few others. And I was just like, and now it kind of hit me a little while ago. I was like, fuck, I've wrestled for all the top places.
Yeah, there's probably not that many people that could say that, because if you look at OTT's relationship, and same with Progress and same with ICW, with the WWE, I think you're in a really good position to get yourself out there and shown to maybe talent spotters.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like I've been a regular at ICW now for the last half a year, if not more. And then I've been lucky enough to be back to Progress twice, and I'm really hoping to go back there because their crowd is seriously special. So and like the crowd seemed to really, really like me and found me funny. So I am hoping to get back there. And of course, OTT is my home. I'm there every month, and they've got so much for me, and that'll always be my number one priority. But then there's other places like Fight Club Pro is without a doubt possibly the UK my favorite place to work. It's amazing.
Well, we had a guest on, which I know you're aware of, a couple of weeks ago, back in Shea Persa. We were talking about himself and his match, and I think Adam will probably like to elaborate a little bit on that because it was one of his favourites.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Oh yeah, I mean, talking to Shea, he absolutely loved the match, and he was genuinely saying that about the shot, the alcohol that you actually didn't drink. What I can't remember what he said now. There was a shot that apparently was on the list, but you couldn't find it.
Was it the KFC vodka?
Somebody got KFC vodka.
That was the one. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but somebody said it accidentally smashed before the match. It smashed, like somebody smashed it in the audience by mistake.
That's probably for the best.
I don't know what it is. It doesn't sound nice, though.
Well, vodka's nice and KFC's fucking amazing, so...
Yeah, but I don't think the two go together, really. I'm going to be honest now. And I'm a girl that likes her drink, but God, have limits. That might have even been enough for me, you know?
I'm trying to look for it now.
I tried Googling it. I couldn't find anything.
No, I can't. It looks like you got to make it yourself.
Yeah, we'll find out next time. Like the next bring the alcohol match. But yeah, no, like even like Shea is such a little sweetheart. Like he's so he blew me away in that match because we were like going through it and all, and you know, I knew it was like it's not an actual wrestling match. That was the thing. I was like, I kind of looked at it and I was like, okay, well there won't be any actual wrestling in it because on a show like Fight Club, there's so many insanely talented guys on it. It's kind of nice to bring it down a peg and just kind of go for something so obscure and so crazy that like you don't actually need moves and all this stuff to get a crowd to go wild. And the crowd in during that match was one of my favorites. Like he popped a balloon over my head and they went ape. It was great. Like, and I just loved how it played. And I remember just halfway through it, I just was like, this is brilliant. It just felt so good. And like I went back buzzing. Everyone in the locker room just like kind of clapped and like started clapping for us, just been like, We didn't know what to expect. Some of the guys were like, I've never watched you before, but we're watching this. And then I walked back like, that was ace. That was so funny. I don't think they kind of like, oh, she's meant to be funny. Let's see what happens here. And they all love the gimmick and stuff like that. So it was really good. It was a great feeling walking back being like, oh, we killed it.
I mean, you say how good the match was, and it wasn't, in your eyes, a proper wrestling match. But what is your favourite wrestling match?
Like wrestle with not much comedy in it.
Yeah.
I'd have to say wrestle wise, it would probably be my ICW debut against Kaylee Ray. Which I was quite surprised about because it was my debut, but I remember just walking back, and even watching it back, even my trainer turned around to me and said, that was the best match you've ever had. It was proper wrestling, but there was a nice little, there was tidbits of comedy in it and enough to get the crowd to know what my character was and introduce myself to ICW. It was on one of their tour shows in Leicester, I think. But when I watch it back, I was like, just Kaylee Ray is just amazing. She is without a doubt the best female wrestler. No, not even female wrestler. She's one of the best wrestlers out there. Without a doubt, she is just top notch. And I've been so lucky. I've wrestled her so many times this year. And we've had a great mix of proper wrestling and then a great mix of really fun comedy spots. I remember at Fight Club, another time she dressed up as the anti-fun Constable Kaylee Ray. And she's just fantastic. So with her, I always feel like if we need to go balls to the wall, we can go balls to the wall. If we need to do a bit of comedy, we can do our comedy. And she'll always have something different to bring. And I think, I don't know, I feel like we complement each other. But I've had others. I love wrestling Ginny. Just because our characters are just so parallel. I'd imagine the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, fight forever. We're just always going to be, our gimmicks are just perfect for each other. And I loved my Progress debut as well against Dahlia Black with TK Cooper there. That was it was good wrestling, but just the crowd and the comedy and the actual story of the match is just one of my favorites. That would be a match that I would send off scene.
I was going to mention that one. That's one of my favorites as well.
Which?
The Dahlia Black match.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, it was one of the first times that I'd actually seen you on an event. I was able to obviously get it on the Progress Network on the pivot chair that they have there, and I thought it was fantastic. I really think Dahlia is great anyway.
My trainer said was just a great showing of a great introduction to me and stuff like that. And when my trainer kind of gives me the backing, I'm like, okay, I did good.
Who is it that actually trains you?
Joe Cabray, the promoter of OTT.
Oh, right. Okay.
He trains me down at Main Stage Wrestling in Dublin.
And how often do you get to go back home to Dublin?
I'm home every week. I just this year has been insane. I've in the last 3-4 months, I've been in the UK every weekend that I haven't been wrestling for OTT in Dublin. So that's it's pretty amazing. But usually the OTT Dublin is the only weekends I'm at home. Every other one I'm off. But except for the last one, I went from Germany back home to OTT. But it's great. And I wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest, because if I don't have a weekend coming up, I kind of freak out. I'm like, what's going on? I need to do something. But it's great that I'm in a position to be flown over every week at this point. There's always some sort of big show. But in Ireland, we kind of only have OTT once a month. So, but I'll always be home for OTT.
Is there any promotions in the UK that you want to maybe go on?
I've been very lucky again. I remember that last year I had a list of all the places that I really wanted to work for. And not just in the UK, but just even in Europe. And now at this point, I've been booked for every one of them that I wanted, or I'm going to be booked for, I have future dates with a few of the other places. I'd love to work Attack Wrestling. That would kind of be the only one that, because everyone always tweets me and always keeps saying to me, oh, you'd be so perfect for Attack, because they are so, off the bat, they're just a bit crazy. They'll always just have fun in their stuff. So Attack would be one. That I've kind of got left. I've wrestled for What Culture now. I've wrestled Progress, ICW, Fight Club. Eve was always a big one ever since before I was even Martina. I always wanted to get on Eve because it was the only all-female show. And now I've pretty much got all their dates, so that's great. I really, really like it there as well. I don't know what's left, really. If you set a promotion, I'd probably be like, yeah, I want to work for them. but nothing on the top of my head. Like, I'd say Attack is kind of just one that would be kind of nice because I've followed them for years.
Yeah, you mentioned Eve there. I think, is it next week we have Rhea?
We have a secret
Rhea,
guest,
yeah.
Adam.
Secret guest that's no longer secret.
She's a babe. She's an absolute babe. I really want to wrestle her when she's back because she's actually Irish as well. So it would only be fitting for the two Irish girls to have a scrap.
Yeah, well, I think she's been doing some training at the Projo as well. And I think when I've been speaking to her, she seems really keen to promote Eve and what Eve's all about. And I think it's great that not only in the US, where we've often seen women's only wrestling federations, if you will, the fact that it's actually also something that's taken off here too. And it's got quite a good dedicated following.
I heard about Eve years and years ago, and it was always one of the only UK promotions I did actually hear about back before I kind of knew much about everything. But like, it was definitely, remember when I debuted for them, it was very much my head being like, Kaz, this was a goal you've had for years and here you are. So I was very, very happy with that. And it went really, really well. And I've been back since then, and I'm back again next time. And like, I really like it there.
Yeah,
the girls as well are absolute babes.
Right as well.
Like, the UK girls, I've made some of my best girlfriends over in the UK. It just sucks that we're not in the same country.
Who's your best friend in wrestling?
Well, there would be a lot of Irish guys, obviously. A guy now that's suddenly getting a lot of attention, and he deserves all the attention that he's getting. His name is Angel Cruz. He's amazing. His match against British Strong Style is up on YouTube on the OTT page. Watch it. It's the best match I've ever seen in my life. But just him, he's without a doubt my best friend. But then I've got a lot of friends. Travis Banks be a good friend. The girls over in the UK, I've got like Nixon, Newell, Kaylee, Viper, Alex Windsor. Like, they're all really, really good friends of mine. And Ginny, but you can edit that part out. You can't have the nemesis.
No, I was lucky to meet Ginny over in Orlando. Us guys were over there watching WrestleMania weekend, and we got to go and see the Progress show. And I actually met Dahlia and Ginny in the Superstore, WWE.
Yeah.
Both lovely, lovely women. And it was really nice for them to take the time out to say hello.
My favorite. I don't want to go into detail because it's so against what we do, but like I adore her.
And I agree. I think she plays the heel role as well perfectly.
She's fantastic. It's only a matter of time until she is like top of everywhere. She is an absolute queen.
Just with you mentioned a little bit earlier as well about being friends with Nixon Newell. Obviously, Nixon's got a fantastic opportunity over with WWE at the moment, being one of the competitors in Mae Young competition. Where do you see yourself developing? Have you had any opportunities for any tryouts with WWE or anyone over there in the States?
Well, I'm going over to Canada at the end of the year, which will be great because I've never been to that side of the world at all, and it would only be a dream to go over there to wrestle. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I'd love to wrestle in America, and I noticed there is a lot of American attention on me lately. Like, a lot of people seem to know who I am and kind of seem to want me over there, but I don't know about the rest. So I guess I'm just kind of playing it day by day and see what happens. I mean, this year has been insane compared to last year. I mean, so much has happened that I never thought would happen. So I guess we could always say you never know what will happen in the next year or the year after that. But as of right now, I just kind of sitting tight and seeing what happens. I mean, there's been talk of a lot of stuff, and it's just all about seeing what pieces fall into play, you know?
It's picking the right promotions, I guess, as well.
Yeah, well, like, without a doubt, I know as far as the UK goes, I'm doing well in that regard. So it's whatever happens next.
If you could wrestle on any US promotion, who would it be?
The WWE. No, there's a few.
That might have been a stupid question by me, actually. I was meant to say apart from WWE.
I'd love to wrestle for Shimmer. I'd really, really love to wrestle for Shimmer, or Shine. But there's a few. I've seen that Beyond Wrestling on Twitter, and they apparently are big fans of mine. I'd really like to go over there, or Wrestle Circus, or just any of them, really. I would love to just kind of give it a go over there and see how. Because I mean, first time I wrestled in the UK, I was terrified. I was like, oh, it won't get over. It won't get over. No one's going to understand what I'm about. And it worked really well. So it'd just be interesting to see if it would work over there as well. I'd also love to try Japan, but who wouldn't?
No, definitely. I think one of the interesting things as well, I noticed Progress were having a bit of a Twitter exchange with Beyond a couple of days ago, which I found fairly interesting. They both operate from the same network, which is pretty cool. Obviously, people have seen you over there, and one of our guests, which we've recorded this week, Donovan Dijak, he works for Beyond, and
I've met him a few times. He's a great guy.
Well, just shows you what you can do, and what the power of the internet, I guess, to get you out there.
Yeah, well, my friend that used to live in Ireland actually is over in America now. He lives there, but when he came back to visit, he was actually like, "How are you the most talked about?" He goes, "Everyone over in the States are talking about you. They all know who you are. They're all saying, 'Oh, do you know the Session Moth?'" So, and that was quite overwhelming to hear that he's moved over there, and that's what he's being asked about over there, And he did say to me that the people in Beyond loved me. So I was like, I'd like to open up chat waves with them.
There's a couple more O's on the paycheck building up first, hey?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who were you, growing up? You mentioned, obviously, you used to watch Jericho and things like that. Who was your female idol growing up?
China. I love China. She is boss. She was always boss. I just always loved the fact that she wrestled men.
I mean, don't get me wrong, China was good, but she was no Bull Nakano.
No, she was no this is when I was growing up. She was the one I idolized. But as you get along, I don't know. Nowadays, I'd say I have a lot more time and respect for women's wrestling than I probably did when I was a kid. I could actually appreciate who was a good wrestler and who wasn't. I love Candice LeRae. She's the best, and she has been my favorite wrestler since I started getting into independent wrestling. And then obviously I've met her a few times, and she's coming over here in next month, and I absolutely adore her. She's a sweetheart. But just she'd always been someone I would always have looked up to.
One of the things that a couple of people have been asking, obviously one of the main points we put out on Twitter, to see what your favourite drink was, given the Session Moth character. I think a lot of people are wanting to know the answer to that question.
Well, okay. I would actually drink, I don't know if you have it anywhere else, but Coors Light. I like Coors Light.
I'm with you.
But I like Bavaria. I like Budweiser. I like Carlsberg. I like Jack and Coke. Oh, I love honey whiskey. I like a honey Jack Daniels and Coke, or honey Joke and lemonade is lovely. I don't like gin and tonics.
I'm actually surprised that you said you didn't like a drink.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think will be the shock horror here. But I am not a fan of gin and tonics. It might be the only drink I don't like, but I don't like it. Alert the press.
Not for everyone. So what's on the cards at the moment then? You've obviously wrestled for, as I mentioned before, a lot of the Premier UK promotions. You've recently done What Culture. What Culture themselves run shows across the country, which some of us have been to. And obviously ICW, one of our hosts, Chris, who can't be here tonight, is a big ICW fan. What is something that you're looking forward to now? We're looking at Kaylee Ray. Yeah. She's obviously a multi-champion across two of those particular promotions. What's next for Session Moth? Are you going to be at that sort of level, you think, where you want to be challenging?
Well, I was the first OTT women's champ that they had.
Okay.
And so that was a huge honor last year to win that. And I guess I've been kind of chasing that back for the last year. So before I got anywhere else, I think that would be my first priority.
Who's your nemesis over in OTT?
Oh, Katie Harvey.
Have you got any words for Katie? Bit of a shoot.
You're gonna die. I'm a drinker under the table. So I don't know. I honestly, I've quite a bit coming up, but I guess it's just at a point now where it's stay tuned, and hopefully just keep the session going. Don't let it die. You're like that thing where it's you're at the end of the night and no one wants to let the session end. You just want to keep going. That's my life.
It sounds like you've had a really interesting run, developing a character. We see lots of wrestlers who have characters that don't work, and you mentioned before that you didn't feel was a right fit for yourself. To find something at this sort of stage in your career is great. Obviously, you've been able to run with it as well and really develop it.
Oh, I have so much fun. Like, I wrestled as Kaza a few weeks ago on a show in Ireland, and I went out there and I was just like, I felt like just being like to crowd, like, I'm not having as much fun as I know I could be having if I was doing Martina right now. Like, when I go out as Martina, I'm genuinely having a ball. Like, and I think that's what comes across.
Yeah, 100%. It comes across on everything that you've been involved in. And I think to have that sort of, as you say, comedy element, we're seeing with lots of promotions at the moment where the mix is
About it so
storytelling.
much is that
I mean, people say that obviously the characters adjust themselves, turned up to 100. Is that you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, as I said, I'm going out there and I'm just laughing at myself and I'm joking at myself. Obviously there's bits of me that I put in there that aren't really there, but yeah, no, 100%. I wouldn't be able to do it so well if I didn't know the character so well. Like, I know Martina as a person and I love her.
Do you ever get confused between the two?
Only when I'm drinking. When I'm sober,
What
I'm
would
actually
your friends say you were like, have a drink?
Yeah.
Would your friends say you're more Kaza or Session Moth when you go out drinking?
But only when it goes into the late hours. Like, that's when it gets bad. But no, like, obviously it's two different people. But I'm actually I'm a normal person during the week. But then the weekend rolls around, I put on them leopard print jammies, and I'm someone else.
What is it you do day to day outside of wrestling?
I'm a receptionist at a MS centre. So I actually work for a charity. I'm a really good person.
Well, that's cool. You often obviously see people doing lots of different things in life. Do you find that your work has to work around the wrestling schedule or vice versa?
No, I'm lucky with this job because obviously it's kind of like, it's a job where I can switch my hours around. So if I need a Friday off to go somewhere, I can take the Friday and just work earlier in the week. Or if I need a Monday because I'm coming back from a show, I can work later in the week. Like, they're actually quite good with that. They know I go away every weekend, so they help me. I've never had to pull out of a booking because of work. They're very, very accommodating, which is great. That's why it's perfect for me for right now.
Yeah, it's a good position to be in because I imagine a lot of people, that must be a worry because devoting your whole time to wrestling is not going to be for everybody, and dedication obviously is what you need for across the board.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's why I have this job. Like, I wouldn't have been able to blow up this year if I had a full Monday to Friday job, because it wouldn't be possible with all the traveling, you know. So yeah, I'm lucky in that regard. But it's just to keep something ticking for the back when it does end. But right now, wrestling is my number one priority.
Oh, good stuff. Well, just with you saying about you working with a charity, you know, we're more than happy to promote the charity on here. Do you want to give us a few more details for the listeners?
Well, it's probably different in the UK, but like any MS helpline or any MS centre, it's like I work in a respite centre, but like it's a charity. You know, we take money to go towards the house and putting up these people that their families need a break sometimes, and you know, it doesn't run on itself. It's just to give them the best possible service and to give them the best quality of life that they can have. So,
yeah, is that in the Dublin area?
You what?
Is that in the Dublin area?
Yeah. It's in our MS centre is in the Dublin area, but of course MS is like worldwide. It's a worldwide problem, and if there's MS helplines all over the world. So that would always be my number one charity that I would do something for, motor neuron disease. It's all kind of under the same umbrella. So you like to kind of help whatever way you can.
Yeah, well, it's really good that you can devote time to be able to do something like that. It's a bit giving back, I guess, as well as enjoying yourself the weekends.
Yeah. Like I actually really enjoy working there, and I like to as much as I can while I'm there.
Oh, good stuff. Well, we've covered quite a lot of the UK promotions. We've looked at women's wrestling as a whole, and Adam mentioned that we are going to have a show next week on women's wrestling as well. But what's your take on women's wrestling worldwide? What do you think is happening? What do you think needs to happen? Is there anything in particular that's good or bad from your perspective?
Well, I think women's wrestling has progressed so much over the last few years, which is fantastic. I think people really have come to respect women's wrestling and get behind women's wrestling. What I think I'd like to see happen would just kind of be like, you see the way like there was big thing about like the women doing a Money in the Bank and whatever about the outcome, that was like in itself whatever. But like, what I would like it to be to get to the point where women doing a stipulation match like that isn't just this big hurrah because it's women. I want it to be an everyday. I want like it to get to the point where it's not a first for women to be doing these things anymore. It's not this big, oh wow, women are doing this kind of thing. I just want it to be an even playing field. Like, one thing I would say I like about Lucha Forever is they actually have a lot of women on their shows. It's not like there's never just one women's match. They would have there will be two women in a match, but then they would have a woman in another match and a woman in another match, and it's never really noticed as, oh, this is the women's match and this is the men's match. You know what I mean? And it's a real even playing field, and I think it's because it is kind of the promotion's coming off the ground of where we stand from. So I really, really respect that aspect, and that's something I'd kind of like to see worldwide.
Do you think we'll ever
reach
reach
a shame that there's only ever one women's match on a show. I don't.
Do you think
we'll
ever reach a stage where we're not necessarily discussing women's wrestling? It'll just be wrestling as a whole.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get there. I hope we get there, but I just think it's very set in its ways as it is right now. But I think it's well on its way to getting there. But
it really needs some of the big promotions, I suppose, to get behind it as well. WWE has tried, with the women's revolution. It's just an awful shame that they do seem to do one step forward, a few steps back with a couple of their booking ideas. But I guess that's business.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm never one to ever doubt WWE. Like, I'm not one of them people. When I see people moaning on the internet, I'm just kind of like, look, pal, they've been running this long. They know what's going on. Leave them at it. Maybe they have a game plan here.
You mentioned about people doubt WWE, and people shouldn't because they've been doing it for a long time. But James fucking Ellsworth.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me, I was really, really, really excited to see that match, and the ending was just utter garbage.
I really don't know what they were thinking with that, because they were like, I don't know how they didn't foresee an absolute downpour on that, because it really people shot all over it, and rightly so. I mean, I do think that was just an absolute. I don't know. I don't really watch it, but I don't watch WWE that much. But that was just. It was just shipping all over what they were trying to build. Yeah, if they
wanted to get him involved, let him grab somebody's leg, but let Carmella climb the ladder.
Actually be the one to take it. Yeah, that would have changed everything, and that could have, at least then she could have stood for something a bit better. It would have been a better thing for herself as well, for her to actually have that and let her have that without anything else. Especially but if it was done the other way around, there wouldn't have been as much of an uproar either. Like if a woman had grabbed a suitcase and handed it to a man, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what would have happened if that ever happened.
Yeah, we need to get you in a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to be in them sort of matches. That's another thing I would want for myself, is just to kind of get to do a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of match would you actually like to do? Obviously, you've done the fans bring the alcohol match, but what is your match? What is the match you'd love to do?
I don't know. I have never really thought about it. If somebody presented me with a match and said, you're going to be doing this match, I'd probably just get very excited about it, whatever it was. And I would just really, rise to it, whatever it could be. I don't know, though. I don't see myself as, a deathmatch person. But if I was put in that situation, I wouldn't be against it. And I wouldn't shy away from it. I've done street fights, but I'd like to kind of have, the proper fucking violent street fights and stuff like that.
Just out of interest, this was in a ring and not on the streets of Dublin, wasn't it?
It was in a ring, yeah. I would love to have a street fight as well, something like the fights, but sure, we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, you are still relatively. I mean, how old are you?
No, you never ask a woman that now.
Ah, true.
Yeah, I'm still young 20, so we'll see.
So, obviously, who are you wrestling this weekend?
I won't be saying nothing.
Ooh, surprises.
What?
Surprises.
Yeah, well, no, maybe I'm not wrestling this weekend. Maybe I have a weekend off.
All right.
Stay tuned to social media.
That means we need to now have a look at the schedule and see what's coming up to see if you're slotting in anywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
Hold on. I think there is a Progress show this Sunday.
No, yeah, but their women's match is already announced. So. As I said, though, I'd love to be back there. I really want to go back there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. Big fans.
Yeah, me and
Their
Kev
fans are fantastic.
me and Kev saw you in Manchester.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a very good match with Ginny.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I love London as well. I think London's fantastic.
What's the favourite city that you've actually? You mentioned you've been over to Germany, and obviously you're looking to go over to the US and Canada. What is the favourite place you've actually wrestled?
Oh, that is a good one. Well, I've wrestled all over the UK, and I've wrestled in Germany. I've wrestled Switzerland, Belgium. I've wrestled in Belgium a lot. Somewhere in the UK anyway. London maybe might be one of my favourite crowds. I really, really, really like London. Dublin, obviously, more than anywhere else. But London or Wolverhampton. I really like them two places.
Is that with Rev Pro, Wolverhampton?
Fight Club Pro. Rev Pro, there's a promotion that I want that I haven't got.
Oh, okay. So that's something you know to who might be listening there to get you booked.
Yeah. Then now that you say that, I'm kind of like, yeah, there it is. That's the one.
Have you ever wrestled in Leeds?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
There is definitely one city you need to wrestle in then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if anywhere's going to Leeds, bring me along, please.
I think there's two. I think there's Rise and Tidal in Leeds.
Oh, Tidal, I've heard a good bit about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We heard some good things as well about one of the friends of the show, a company called Riptide Wrestling, who ran a show in the last weekend just gone, and they apparently tore the house down. Would that be someone you'd be interested in looking at if they run some more shows in the future?
Yeah, actually, I think I was traveling with CCK this weekend, and they mentioned that they really enjoyed it. I think they were on that one, and they really enjoyed it. So yeah, that'd be another. I think I've followed them on Twitter and everything like that. So sure, all they have to do is get in touch with me, and hopefully have the day free. I'd more than likely be there.
I'm sure we can point them in the right direction. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So obviously working with lots of different wrestlers, both men and women, and you're having some friends in different pots there. But when you're looking at wrestling and you're wrestling different people, do you find it easier to wrestle friends, or do you find it easier to wrestle people that maybe you don't really know too much about, and you should just work in the ring together?
It's so much easier to work your friends. It's so much easier. Because you just you know each other, and you're not worried about being polite and everything like that. It's always easier with your friends because you know what they're about. You're both in it for the same reason. But generally, once you wrestle someone, you kind of always end up being friendly with them anyway. And the more you wrestle people, the easier it gets.
It's a small fraternity, I guess, of people.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, especially when you're kind of always on the same shows as the same people, you're always going to kind of end up running into the same people and end up being friends with the same people, you know?
Yeah. No, definitely. Well, with you just mentioned a little bit earlier as well, we often ask guests about their inspirations, and you were mentioning about China being someone that you looked at when you were watching wrestling growing up. What do you think of China's chances of making it into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Oh, definitely not going to happen.
No,
definitely not going to happen. And to be fair, I completely understand why, because WWE is a child's thing. It's a child's promotion that if they're watching Hall of Fame, they might go to their laptop and look up China. And to be fair, a lot more bad stuff will come up than good. It's not like she just it's not like she's like that though, isn't it? She just kind of she made it, and she did a lot to kind of it's a shame. She should be in it, but it's kind of a case. I completely understand where they're coming from. It's you can't broadcast that sort of thing because it will highlight it, unless they could bury that stuff and get rid of it off the internet. Other than that, no, unfortunately.
Bit of a hard sell.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your thoughts on that, Adam?
I think they should look past it, but like Martina says, they're quite clearly not going to look past it. Plus, obviously, there's a history between Triple H and China. I just don't think it's ever going to happen, which is a shame.
I don't even think that's an issue with it. I don't think the Triple H aspect is an issue. I think it's And I think they genuinely would love to put her in it because they know she deserves to be in it.
There is other people in there that have probably done, worse or even similar things, which I won't name.
Yeah, but they're never going to put Chris Benoit.
Oh, no.
They're never going to put Chris Benoit in it either.
Oh, 100% no. And
so there's always going to be...
100%, I don't even think he never deserves to go in, but...
Yeah. But, like, it's just a case. It's like, you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that you brought up Chris Benoit there, Martina. I think one of the interesting topics that came out, we're part of a lot of different wrestling groups as fans, as I'm sure you can imagine. I've seen that you're in some of these groups as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that came out was Chris Benoit's son back doing some tryouts with WWE. And there was a very much a mixed bag of kind of emotions from people. I'm very much of the opinion that someone shouldn't be judged from what their father's done. But again, you're looking at a very hard sell, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I just don't think it's going to happen for a lot of people. Like, people just people like to moan and say that they want all that stuff up, but it's just not. Like, you have to pick your battles, I guess, I
mean, you can't please everyone.
Yeah, exactly. You never will. Like, people, not everyone's going to like what I do out there either.
I think if the Benoit's son was good enough, he should be allowed to compete. He shouldn't be held back because of what his dad did.
Yeah, it's just people are going to draw lines there,
Yeah.
It would be great, though. It would. He probably deserves it. He shouldn't be held back because of it.
Is this where we end up with something like El Benoitito or something like that? Probably is.
You never know. I'll think of something creative for it. Maybe give him the session.
Yeah, who knows? Well, funny again, on the Session Moth gimmick as a whole, and you were talking about beyond obviously knowing about your work over in America, how do you think that is going to play out to an American audience who obviously probably aren't into the little niches that we have here in Ireland and the UK?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll have to tweak it at all?
Because I didn't think the UK would get it, and they did, because it is very Irish. And a lot of American fans seems to have, they follow my Twitter and stuff like that, and they seem to really like it. But again, it's just a case of going over there and trying it. You won't know until you try.
Yeah, well, I think the whole gimmick itself is probably took off in the UK. We have plenty of people who could probably categorise the Session Moths in Liverpool, and I'm sure Adam would you say the same for Leeds?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Maybe just names a different name.
The way I see it, there's people like that in America as well. That's the thing. It's like somebody, the character itself is somebody you'll find everywhere. Everyone knows a Martina. There's a Martina on every street,
Yeah,
it's a good way of looking at it, to be honest. You don't really think of it like that because I guess the whole kind of drinking thing can be done in a different way, and obviously a party girl sort of character. It'll just be interesting to see how you develop it because I think a lot of people are going to like it, definitely.
I'd like the challenge of it. I would really like the challenge of it.
Yeah, and worst comes to worst, you can always pop the mask back on, allegedly.
What? Yeah, exactly. I could just go with that.
Good stuff. Well, what is it that you're going to be doing? Adam said obviously this weekend, but next couple of months we've got obviously shows across the UK. You've got your shows at OTT. I saw they were promoting something. Tell us a little bit like that. Are you going to be involved?
Yeah, we have WrestleRama coming up at the start of August, which is a really big event. It's held in a national stadium in Ireland, which is over 2,000 people. So it's very big for Ireland to be able to fill out that much of a wrestling crowd. So that's a huge standpoint for us in Ireland. But then, of course, I've got a lot coming up. I've got a few free dates that I'm still trying to fill, but my year is looking quite good till the end of the year. So I'll be over your way a lot, and I've still got open dates. So I'm hoping to get new places and see what happens. And then, of course, Canada at the end of the year. Hopefully, all goes well with that, and hopefully next year is just as good.
Yeah, well, the scene at the moment is absolutely unreal. We were speaking, as I mentioned before, with D-Jack, and he was saying that he was having a chat with a couple of his friends in the States about US promotions and really about is there going to be a point, which there probably will, a saturation point where the boom will end and what happens next? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I just think that it's been on such a rise as it is. So I don't think people are so invested in it right now that it's not going to end anytime soon. People aren't putting this much of their time and effort into it to just have it go away. So I only see it going up.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing from my perspective is the sheer amount of promotions. Will there be a point where, I know Jim Smallman in particular has touched upon it, where he's kind of said there's lots of people who are talking about wrestling, but now there seems to be a lot of people thinking they could be wrestling promoters, maybe don't realize the actual hard work that goes in the background and getting that sort of relationship with talent, which can be difficult.
Yeah, well, that's why I have the sink and swim promotions. Like, people will try it, but unless they're ready to give absolutely everything to it, they're not going to succeed.
Yeah. Would you have any thoughts in a couple of years? Would you have any thoughts?
Yeah, that would definitely be. That would be something I would definitely be into, because I've invested so much of my life into wrestling. I don't see myself ever really fully walking away from it. So down the line, say if I couldn't wrestle anymore, it would definitely be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, well, I think with the whole Irish scene, like you mentioned before, that when you were kind of growing up, you went aware of wrestling in Ireland, and how people like Sheamus, people like Becky, and people like Finn Balor have really put Irish wrestling on the map. You've got
exactly.
Jordan Devlin as well. He's making some waves in the UK scene. It must be an exciting time to be around.
I'm doing it side by side with them.
Exactly. It just shows that the WWE. Unfortunately, we as UK wrestling fans haven't had that UK champion to get behind. Whereas Ireland, Sheamus, multiple-time world champion, which is really something.
Yeah, I'm also sure you have the UK Championship now, which is huge in itself.
Yeah, would that be something, maybe if you did get into WWE, you'd be looking if they had a woman's arm to that?
Oh, yeah, of course, without a doubt. Like, that's the hope and the goal for everyone in the UK and Ireland at the moment, that they'll introduce something of similar standpoint for the women in the UK, because there's so many. You never know, even just so spotting the shows that or something like that, obviously everybody wants to be involved and help make it grow the way that the lads have.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go and see the very first show in Blackpool that they ran, and it was unbelievable. And Tyler Bates and the way Pete Dunne came across.
I was in work and I was watching it on my phone.
Yeah, they were so good. So good. And obviously them developing not only, on the UK scene, but also on TakeOver as well. That match was probably the best match in such a long time.
Oh, it was brilliant. So good. I was so proud of them. It was great.
Yeah, it's just good for British wrestlers and obviously Irish wrestlers to be part of the scene.
It's great to have them be seen, They're seen on a global scale now, which is what they deserve.
Yeah, and it's I suppose a worldwide wrestling phenomenon. You've got wrestlers coming in from Australia. You've got TK Cooper and Darley coming in, and obviously Travis Banks coming in from New Zealand. It just shows that how such a large company like WWE can be so polarizing for everyone and be that hook to get people into wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just, I just feel like it's like the WWE are finally realizing that there's so much talent not on their radar, and they're finally they're seeing what great talent there is around and trying to be a part of it.
Could you point us in the direction of any talent to watch other than your friend you mentioned earlier? Is there anyone we should be watching for in the near future, for big stars who might be on the verge of WWE?
From Ireland, I would definitely say, Jordan Devlin's going to absolutely hold this country on his shoulders in a little while. He's got so much to give. He's without a doubt our absolute flag holder from Ireland. He's fantastic. There's loads, though, from even just like OTT, our like homegrown talent, I think is what makes OTT so special. Like, we have our lads from the flats that are just great because they're so Dublin and they represent everyone in Ireland. And the gymnasties are fantastic characters themselves. And Justin Shape is taking on OTT and bringing it. He's just doing fantastic. And then, I don't know, there's millions. Like, there's like pretty much everyone I've mentioned already is just like Kaylee Ray, Ginny, Alice Windsor, Viper, Travis, CCK, all these guys that are getting all the recognition that they deserve are just definitely ones to watch. Yeah,
no, definitely. It's something that we as fans are all really looking forward to. And again, being part of that at the moment must be an unreal experience, something that you probably didn't even imagine when you first started wrestling 7 years ago.
I never ever thought I'd be seen on, just even the fact, as I said earlier, that I'm wrestling on the same shows as these guys that are top of the scene right now, and I seem to kind of constantly be on the same run as them, is a big honor for me. The fact that I'm apparently considered up there with them.
And let's just assume that there might be somebody out there who's getting a little bit of inspiration from yourself. Would you have any advice to give to, wannabe wrestlers?
Just it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. There's going to be bad times. There's a lot of bad times. You just kind of have to work through them and keep your eyes on the prize. Believe in what you're doing, and that'll get you further than anything else. Work hard, be nice, try and get along with everyone, and just most of all, just enjoy yourself, because in 10 years you want to look back and say that you had the best life possible, and that's exactly what I know I'm going to look back on my life and say.
Yeah, it's a very unique industry. I don't think there's anything out there that compares to wrestling in the slightest.
Definitely not. It brings people from all over the world together over one. Like, I don't think, like, say if you were to look at WWE as just a TV show that we all watched as kids growing up, I doubt any other TV show has ever inspired people's lives to this degree.
You're talking ages, ethnicities, sexes. The fact that they can just touch so many people is unreal, really.
It's great. It brings so many people together. It's fantastic. Like, I've made so many friends. I've made my life because of wrestling. And it's just shocking to actually think it. Like, if I looked back at the times when I wasn't into wrestling, like, I never would have thought, like, oh, guess what? Wrestling's going to be the biggest thing that ever happens in your life. And I'm like, what? Go away. No, it's not. Yeah, well,
you've come a long way, and it's something that, you're always going to be proud of. And to continue that rise into the coming years.
I wake up thinking about wrestling, and I go to sleep thinking about wrestling. Like, it's literally my life, and I want to give everything to it.
See, we're not even wrestlers, and that's pretty much our lives. Would you agree, Adam?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much wrestling, so little time.
Exactly.
So we're just obviously before we close up today, with people who may be unfamiliar with OTT, other than what they might have seen on YouTube or they might have seen online, is OTT more of a character-driven promotion, or is it more of a technical? Is there any particular style that it would maybe align itself with?
It is everything under one roof. It's amazing. Like, genuinely, people, like, all the wrestlers all over Europe and the world love working for OTT. It gives every single aspect. There's comedy wrestling, there's characters. Like, the Irish people are very, very, very character based. So you'll know the Irish ones when you see them, when you watch an OTT. We have our on-demand thing now. I recommend getting it. It's fantastic. So many characters, but then British Strong Style, who are regulars with us, they would do a hard-hitting match 1 month, and then they come back and they do a comedy match. And, like, it has some of the most high-flying, like, Will Ospreay absolutely loves working for OTT. It says it. Same with Marty Scurll. They say they're high on their priority list of anytime they're free. If they're not on, like, New Japan or Ring of Honor, they will. If the OTT has a date, they're there. They'll be there before anywhere else, which is a huge honor for us. Yeah,
it's a testament to obviously shows how well the promotion must be being run.
If the top workers in the world right now, Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll, have OTT on the top of their list, and they go out there and they kill it every time, it says a lot about the promotion. I highly, highly recommend anybody to watch it. There's something for every type of fan out there on one show. Any given show, there's something for everybody.
Okay. Excellent.
Sorry, Adam. Where can people go and watch OTT?
OTT on demand, or it's our new service, but it's still available on Vimeo. Check them out on Twitter.
That's great, thank you.
Good stuff. Well, I just want to take the opportunity, Martina, to say thanks very much for coming on to have a chat with us. It's always much appreciated when someone takes the time out and come and has a chat with the fans, and obviously just learn a little bit more about yourself.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks again.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Don't forget to check out the Social Oddities on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. T-shirts are now available to all our podcast fans. They're available in a variety of different colours and also in different sizes. Keep in contact, follow, like, and share. Let all your friends know to listen to the Social Oddities Podcast.
Don't forget to tune in next time for more fighting talk. Please don't take that out of context. I was talking about wrestling. Catch you next time.